Kathryn Cook, Executive Director, and let's chat about doing expos or doing events with your passion parties business. So that is something that is a fantastic way to get your name out there and to meet new people and introduce them to your passion parties business. And I just want to share some tips on ways to make those events more successful for you. So first and foremost, unless you are in an adults only venue like at a bar or something like that, you do obviously want to make sure that your table is PG. Generally, I don't put anything on the table aside from the Body by Passion Parties products or the massage products. I don't generally put any type of toys or anything that could be considered like risque on the table itself. That actually, by the way, includes catalogs. I do not put catalogs out on my table either because, number one, we know that people will grab things at expos and events because they think that they need to. And you don't want all of those catalogs ending up in the trash, especially if you're using like the new catalogs. Now, if you have old, outdated ones, okay, that's great. I would use those as your handouts, although I still would not set those on the table. And the last thing you want is for some little kid to come up to your table and grab that catalog off of your table and their mom see it and be like absolutely furious and come yell at you in the middle of an expo. So that's my first tip. Make sure that your table is totally PG, meaning that you only have your bath and body products, your massage products, that kind of thing out on the table. And like I said, I recommend not even have the catalogs available on the table to grab, although I do put a sign on my table that says catalogs available upon request, and then I will hand them the catalog. Also, a few additional tips. You want to do something to get their contact information. You want to do something to see how interested they are in passion parties itself. So, and every event is a little different, but generally on an event, I always have a prize basket available, and that prize basket is displayed on the table. Again, remember, whatever's going in the basket needs to be family friendly if you are in that type of venue. And I generally make the basket worth at least $100 up to $150. And do, of course, remember that this is perceived value. So there are some things that are fairly inexpensive for us, but have a really big perceived value. And you want your basket to look nice and full too, very enticing. So I have the basket generally set up on the side of the table. And then I have little expo slips all along my table with pins for people to fill out. And there are copies in the document center of expo slips. So on PassionNet, Document Center, I don't remember exactly what they're called, but there are expo slips available there for you to print out. Or of course you can create your own. The ones that I have, they have room for their name, their address, their phone number, their email, and then there are 4 options for them to mark at the bottom. The 4 options at the bottom are for me to add them to the mailing list, for if they're interested in hosting a party of their own, if they would like more information about having their own passion parties business, or the 4th option, which I actually think is kind of genius, says, please don't bother me unless I win. I love that category, actually. Like, you might think it's kind of offensive. You're like, oh my gosh, why would somebody actually say that? Because there are people who will walk around expos and events filling out these slips who have no genuine interest in business. They simply want to win something for free. I don't want to spend my time going through all of these slips and contacting people after the fact who truly have no interest. And the funny thing is, you'll see, like, when people come to your table, if you have an option like that on your drawing slip, they'll laugh about it, but then they'll mark it, which is hilarious to me. So I love it, though, when they mark that, because that's just one less person I need to follow up with. Also, as people are filling out the slips, you do want to encourage them to make sure that they do mark an option at the bottom, because you also don't want a whole bunch of slips that have these people's contact information, but you have no idea if they want to host a party or if they want more information about the business. So when I'm talking with people, I always encourage them to fill out the slip for our free prize giveaway for the basket that's worth over $100 in product. And I was like, so please just fill out the top for me and then mark whichever option at the bottom most applies to you. And that way you tend to get a lot more marked as well. So I found that to be very helpful. Obviously, you want to try to book parties at your expos. I generally have not found that I sell a ton of product unless it's somebody who's like has been to lots of passion parties and they know they're out of pure instinct or something. And then they'll come running up to you and be like, I need more pure instinct. I'm so happy to see you. But as far as actually selling a lot of product, I generally am not focused on that at an event. My whole premise for being there is to get more leads to book parties or to add more team members. So I do have my open date sheets there. And if you're sharing a booth with more than one person, you guys can each have your open date sheet there. But I have the open date sheet there, and you can offer some kind of incentive for them to book their party with you that day. For instance, sometimes I put a sign up on my table that says, book your party with me today and receive 50% off of your most expensive item. Now, of course, I'm controlling that because they're picking a date off of my open date sheet in order to get that offer. There are other people, they have like prize wheels and that kind of thing. Like some people have like actually big homemade prize wheels. Some people use prize wheel apps on their phone or on their tablets, just like you could use as like a booking activity at your parties itself. But the people can, then spin the wheel on either your phone or your actual real wheel. And that's their additional prize when they host their party on their original scheduled party date that they picked with you. Again, the more interactive you can get people to be, the better your results. We're in a relationship business, so the quicker you can develop that relationship with your potential team members, your potential hostesses at these events, the better. That also means you have to be really friendly at these events. There is no sitting. You want to be standing. You want to be full of energy. You want to be smiling. You want to be friendly. I know that should go without saying, but people don't want to approach you if you're sitting behind the table with your arms folded because you're bored, or if you're sitting there playing on your cell phone because you're bored. So you want to be approachable. You want to be friendly. Another tip for you would be to not have your table in the front of your booth with you behind it. Actually, maybe put your table to the side and leave your booth space open. So that invites people to come into your booth area. Again, that makes it more welcoming. It gives them more of a chance to actually talk with you and connect with you. Another tip I found very helpful over the years is I always have a candy basket at my table, always. They may not be interested in our products initially, but they might want the Snickers bar that I have in my basket. So I figure anything I can do to lure them to my table works really well. You might also find some events where they are wanting you to donate a prize or a giveaway or something like that, like door prize. And if that's the case, generally what I offer in that case is a gift certificate. I generally offer like a $50 gift certificate that they have to contact me to redeem. That again, especially if it's a family event, that helps prevent that like a 15-year-old girl is getting like whatever prize you happened to give. Meaning like if you gave like a tangible product like a lotion or something, her mom or somebody might get mad if a 15-year-old wins that. Whereas if it's a gift certificate, so be it. They don't want to use it, they can tear it up. And the nice thing about that as well is that you're not out any money until the gift certificate is actually redeemed. So that's what I recommend as far as like door prizes and that kind of thing. Also, just another note to kind of keep in mind about events that you might do. Things that are always really important are, number one, where is the event going to be located? What is the expected exposure rate? Like how many people are they planning to have in attendance? Is this a new event? Meaning, is this the first year that this event has happened, or is this an event that has been happening several times over? And if it's happened several times over, what was last year's attendance? How did that look? You also do want to weigh the cost of any booth that you're doing or any event that you're doing against the anticipated outcomes, because you're generally not going to bring any money back in the day of the expo. Like generally you're not going to make any additional money until down the line when you book those parties with those people and you have those parties. So you want to make sure that the cost that you're putting out equals basically what you're expecting to get in return. So you want to make sure, number one, that it's an audience you're looking for, which would obviously be more like your women's audiences, not necessarily your mixed audiences where there's going to necessarily be a lot of men and women there. I've generally had better luck at events that were focused just on women or women and families, that kind of thing. So that's something to keep in mind. And again, if you can't afford to be out the $200, $300, $500, whatever for the booth, if you can't afford to be out of that money, for like a month or however long it takes you to do those parties to recoup the money, either get some other people to do the booth with you or consider not doing the booth. Because like I said, generally this is a return that's going to take a little while to come back to you. But I do highly recommend that you do events in your areas. There's all kinds of generally like little local events where maybe it's $25 to have a table set up there or something like that. There's all kinds of variations of like huge events where thousands of people are expected, or smaller events where you might just get like 100 people. So just keep it family friendly, unless, you're in a venue where, it's like a bar or something and everybody is going to be over the age of 18. And keep your table fun and simple. Make sure that you're approachable, you're friendly, you're engaging, and offer as many enticements as you can to get people to your table, whether it be having candy bowls or a prize spinning wheel when they book their party, the gift baskets, that kind of thing. So there's all kinds of different booth ideas out there, but I hope this gives you some tips on ways to make your event a little bit more successful.